A fun and incredible race last week at the Auto Club Speedway leads now to one of the shorter, more narrow tracks on the NASCAR circuit, and where tonight's 10th round of the United Sim Racing Association season will be for the Lucas Smith Dodge No Bull 240 here at Dover. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Nate Siefker will be joining me here prior to races end in about 15-20 minutes from now. Nate will be in the booth with me. We welcome you to round number 10 of the United Sim Racing Association Cup Series Season 5. Here we are in the midst of it. We are a couple of minutes away from the qualifying session here. As right now you see the times going across the top of your screen here. We're actually going to hide those here momentarily as we give you the race info for this race here tonight at Dover. It's a warm day, ambient temperature for Dover, 98 degrees on track, 67 degrees ambient. So a rather cool day, actually, I should say, as we head into tonight's race. The point standings for this series here: Randy Bechtel had a 1-point lead going into Auto Club last week, so both John and I misspoke there. Had a 1-point lead. It is now a 17-point lead. As you see, some guys able to jump up some spots. Ryan Jones able to jump up 4 spots up to 9th position in the standings. Luke Lafaro missed last week. He is here this week, lost 8 positions in the standings with that missed race last week. You've seen a couple of other guys. Zach Calloway missed last week. He had a big drop. Aaron Dafler also had a pretty significant drop. As we get you through the rest of the standings here, as actually I think we might be joined by Nate a little bit earlier than we thought. As yes, we are being joined a little bit earlier than we thought by Nate Siefker. Nate, welcome in tonight. Thank you for filling in.
I just flew as fast as I could for you. That's how important you guys are to me.
Thank you. We thank you incredibly for that, as we are about to get into the qualifying session here. We just put the points up on the screen. It's a 17-point lead right now for Randy Bechtel, who is not on track at the moment in the standings, over this man that is on screen right now in the number 16. That is Evan Pienta. Pienta had that bad run, spun out at the beginning of the final green flag run at Auto Club last week. This is a difficult place to try to make up points if you need to.
Difficult place to make up points, difficult place to pass overall. It's a mile long. It's not very wide at all. It's very fast, so it's very overtaking opportunities are few in between, and you just got to capitalize whenever you can on mistakes coming out of 2 or 4.
Certainly, in turn 2 seems to be more the calamity corner. Guys really like to push off of turn 2, and that's one of the big issues, as you see. That's Chase Barry and Evan Pienta going a little wild there, as we're about 2 minutes left in this practice session. As we look at some guys, we're going into the 10th race out of 16 on this season. We've had 9 different winners at this stage in the season. Only Evan Pienta is a duplicate winner. This is a track that would favor guys that are normally at the top. Guys like Randy Bechtel, Alex Huffman, Evan Pienta is up here every single week. Troy Torgerson has been really good at saving the tires. What do you think, Nate, is going to be the key to victory here tonight?
Well, just hearing the fact that there's 9 winners out of 10 races tells you that there's no real top. It's everyone's there. So I think by the way that sounds, I haven't seen these guys run yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be interesting to see who does take care of their tires the most. Just how you said, the guys that take care of their tires tonight, this is their night. This is a track that really favors those people. The concrete is rough and abrasive, and it's very easy to slide the tires. So whoever takes care of their tires, I think, is going to be the best shape at lap 180.
And I misspoke, actually. It's 8 different winners in 9 races, this being the 10th. Still the same basic principle, but, you know.
Right, same percentage almost.
Yeah. As you see these guys just finishing up the practice session, and I know this is your first time seeing these guys, but we know from covering these guys all season long, the guys who are the best on their tires. We've seen Randy Bechtel have great runs on older tires. Troy Torgerson mastered the old tire run at Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago. Could this be a place where somebody tries to sneak up on you as far as maybe a different pitch strategy gets them up at the front? You mentioned it's hard to pass here. Could that be something we see in play tonight?
I think you'll see at some point tonight, I think you'll see some people go off strategy and try to make something happen. Do I anticipate it being early in the race? No, I don't think so. I think you'll see some strategies kind of form around, I'd say lap 70 to 90. I think you'll see some, if we get a yellow around that time frame, I think you'll see some people maybe mix it up and try something new. This is a place that, going opposite strategy does work, especially if you're really good at taking care of your tires. So if you do a good job at that, there should be a lot of different opportunities that are open for you.
Certainly, as we are getting into the qualifying session here. Ryan Jones, Eric Holly, Chris Brown, Chase Barry, Roy Leemans, Justin Winters, all getting on track here to start, as there is Ryan Jones. Finished second place last week at Auto Club. And Jones with the similar paint scheme to what we're used to seeing him in that number 91. A couple of different sponsors on that car. Of course, ESPN still on the corner panels. You can just barely see him as he gets set to set his first flying lap, looking very solid through 1 and 2 and through 3 and 4.
Gotta represent, man. Absolutely. So it'll be fun to see that side of that car have that ESPN logo on it. Hopefully he does a pretty good job with it.
Certainly. Is this only a 5-minute session here? So Jones, Winters, and Barry have set times. Eric Holly jumps up into second place with his time. Ryan Jones now crossing. Oh, got a big wiggle and smacks the wall hard. So that first lap being good enough to put him at the top. Well, he just got supplanted now by the 29 and the points leader of Randy Bechtel. Oh, and he's going to go for a slide.
I think we're learning that tires only got 1 lap in them.
At least 1 lap to seriously push as Jeff Pogo comes across the line. He's in the 3rd position now. Looking solid here. Made it through the danger of turn 2. Alex Huffman has set the purple fastest first half of the lap at a 10:75. Huffman goes to the pole. Jeff Pogo, on the other hand, not able to advance his position. As time's coming in thick and fast here, Alex Huffman right now, there he is in the 25, currently sitting on the pole.
I just went scrolling through just because I'm curious to see what kind of lines people are doing. And the process of me scrolling through, I saw 2 different people spin out on their laps. So that just tells you how treacherous this track is. So, and plus the drivers are not letting the tires get into a proper tire window in terms of temperature. So that might be another reason why we're seeing some of these spins here in the qualifying session here, Frank.
Yeah, we're certainly getting down towards the back end of this qualifying session, just under halfway through this qualifying session. As you're seeing Thomas Ogle now about to complete his second lap in the number 23. He's the only car on track right now, is Ogle, and he will jump up into the 7th position. So a good qualifying run there for Thomas Ogle, as we'll watch Chris Brown set some practice laps in that number 1. His time is set. His time was a 40.13, so he did not have the greatest of qualifying runs. Larry Poling, Jeff Winter, Jared Hagedorn, Daniel Dill, Zach Calloway, Tommy Cannon, and David Carman have not set qualifying times. Of the 22 drivers that are set to take the field here tonight, and Nate, not as big a field as we're used to seeing around Dover especially, but still a pretty nice sized field, a place where you can still find yourself in some trouble.
You'll find yourself in trouble eventually. I think that's almost a guarantee. But the nice thing too is this: less cars on track, the track won't heat up as much. So we should, in theory, see a cooler racetrack. So there'll be more grip out for everybody. So it'll be interesting to see as the race goes on how people do in regards to their tire temperatures, trying to keep them in check. Especially, we believe the bottom will be the lane to be at for the first, I'd say 50 laps. But eventually, you're going to want to move up because that's where the grip's going to eventually get to.
See that track temperature fluctuating. It's at 95 degrees Fahrenheit, only 67 ambient today here in Sim, as Daniel Dill will get one lap in, and that is all here in the number 81 Triumph Motorcycles Ford.
Looks solid through 1 and 2 there. Let's see if he can do it again in 3 and 4.
A little slow
just
as well,
understeered. He's got a little bit of understeer. He's going to try to turn it in. Going to get loose.
It's easy as that. So 15th position does top Chris Brown as the qualifying session comes to a close. And before we start 160 laps here at Dover, we will show you the grid. Alex Huffman starting P1 here tonight with a 21.633, so a good qualifying run from Alex Huffman, just 3/100ths of a second. Behind him is Randy Bechtel completing the first row. Jeff Pogo and Troy Torgerson in row 2. Evan Pienta, Jamie Leach make up the third row. Row 4 will be Thomas Ogle and Roy Leemans, while Stephen Holmes and Eric Holly round out the top 10. Ryan Jones and Chase Barry make up row number 6. And Nate, take us the rest of the way.
Justin Winters and Luke LaFaro will make up row number 7. Daniel Dill and Chris Brown, they were the two lowest qualifiers. They'll make up row 8 and 15th and 16th respectively. And now to the non-qualifiers, we got Jeff Winter and Tommy Cannon. They've qualified 17th and 18th respectively. Zach Calloway and Jared Haghorn will make up row 10. And David Cardahan and Larry Poling close out the field in row 11, 21st and 22nd respectively.
So that will do it here for the grid for the Lucas Smith Dodge Noble 240 here at Dover. Again, it is going to be 160 laps around this racetrack. And for this series, they've had a very good run of races here lately. Since they came back from the winter break, they've run 3 races, only 5 cautions, one of them being a super speedway at Talladega. 2 cautions there. They only had 1 caution at Las Vegas and 2 cautions last week at Auto Club, all single-car spins on a pit cycle. I'm expecting a great run of form from these guys. We might get some long runs here tonight.
Yeah, we might get some long runs, but hopefully, we saw quite a bit of spins in practice there, so maybe they got all their spinning out. They learned quite a bit from the practice session. Should be interesting. Let's get it done.
It certainly will be, as Alex Huffman and Randy Bechtel make their way through turn number 4. Race winners make up the top 5 positions this season. Which one of them will be able to get a second, or in Pienta's case, a third? Green flag is in the air. We are racing here at Dover, and already making moves in the mid-pack. Roy Leemans heads to the bottom.
That was an excellent start by Alex. I think that was one of the better restarts I've seen in a long time on the surface. He just jumped right out there and didn't wait around.
A great start for Jeff Pogo, too, getting up into that 3rd position. Evan Pienta following him through, as Randy Bechtel is one of the guys that was known for saving tires earlier in these runs. It's Troy Torgerson behind him as well, known for doing the same. Immediately getting to the bottom and actually starting to create a gap between the top 3.
They've done quite a good job. So this is all about momentum, trying to carry this through. It's all about starting to learn as well. If you can learn the most through this run, that's going to be the most important as this run carries through.
And certainly, and with the way these guys have been racing this year, speaking of Bechtel and Torgerson, I wouldn't mind hanging behind these guys. Sure, you're losing the lead a little bit here, but those, as I've mentioned, pounded the point home. These guys are the best at saving their tires and have proven it. So maybe you can learn something from sitting behind these guys And the three in front of them, speaking of Huffman, Pogo, and Pienta, Pogo rather moderate, but we've seen how much guys like Huffman and Pienta can fall off on a long run this season.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see as this run progresses how their tire wear does. Like you just mentioned, tire wear is very important and very vital here. So if they can manage the temperatures of their tires, which we believe they can do, it's just a matter of how well they do it. But as you can tell, right behind Randy, there's a nice long train. And if you're like the fourth or fifth car in this train, you're kind of getting worried because that's a lot of dirty wake, and that could affect your tire wear.
Certainly could. Fourth in that line is the 23 of Thomas Ogle. Fifth is Roy Leemans in this line. Bechtel right now 1.3 seconds off the pace, and I was off by 20 laps. It's a 180 lap race here tonight. Could have swore I saw 160 on the race chart, but anyway.
A 6 and an 8 look pretty close. I'm not going to blame you for it.
Still a gap. A pretty nice run of cars here. It's 4th through 11th. At the back of that group is Luke Lafaro in the 20 and that DC Solar number 20. Again, Lafaro missing last week at Auto Club, dropped 8 positions in the point standings here just by missing one race. So one, that shows you how devastating it is to miss a race, and two, just how close the midfield is when it comes to the point standings.
Whenever you're in a competitive league, missing a race is devastating, especially if you're in it for the entirety of the championship. So nobody ever wants to miss a race unless if you have personal stuff going on. So at the moment, by the sounds of it, I haven't looked at the standings yet, but Luke's got some work to do if he wants to get back up there to the top of the chase.
Yeah, he certainly does. As we'd like to welcome everybody who is in both the Facebook and YouTube chats as well here tonight. Jonathan Leach commenting in the Facebook chat, having to work late tonight, unfortunately not able to make it. I believe this is the first race he's missed this season, and he's done both driving and commentary, so have a great night, John. And I'm sure these guys will put on one heck of a show as we're really starting to get spread out here, just 10 laps into this 180-lap event.
So they must have really learned our tire wear from the practice session and the qualifying as well, because I haven't seen a single person, as I say that. Justin Winters got a little loose out of 4 there, but yeah, I haven't seen anybody except for that there just kind of get loose. So that's the first case I saw of somebody stepping out of line.
And we're already seeing, as we look at Justin Winters in the 52, seeing guys sort of already trying to navigate and try to find lines. Winters sitting right at the bottom of the racetrack, actually clips the apron a little bit in the middle of 3 and 4 there. The guys behind them, Daniel Dill, Tommy Cannon, and the like, they're starting to try to run the middle lane.
And that, like I said, that middle lane eventually was going to come in there, but I didn't expect it to be this early. I was expecting about lap, I'd say 25 to 30 before people really started to get up there. So seeing people start to truck up there this early tells me that that bottom lane has lost quite a bit of grip over this practice and qualifying session.
And we're seeing there on the 74, you can see there's a little bit of right front damage on the front of Roy Lehman's Aaron's Dream Machine. So it looks like, and there's also damage on his right rear as well, so it looks like he might have popped the wall coming off of one of these 2 corners.
Not so dreamy, is it?
Man, no, it's bapped him in the head hard enough, he might actually have a dream. His poor Lucky sitting there watching his right side. Is looking solid, though, now as he's got Chase Barry behind him in the number 11. And really spread out here really early. As still moving on, there is your leader, Alex Huffman. We've got about, if we take a look here, we got about half the track covered now.
I'm kind of surprised by how much the pace has, spread out the field. But if you look at, Alex's pace, his fastest lap of the race was on lap 3 with the 21.9. His last lap was a 23.1. So already a second different in lap time. And this is not a very long lap here, Frank. It's only 22 seconds on average. So that's a pretty big drop off, especially in pace already.
You're almost 20 laps in. You've already fallen off about a second and a half. Just ran a 23.4 There are guys behind him that are running quicker. Randy Bechtel running quicker. Randy Bechtel actually now getting around Evan Pienta. That is for the third position. Troy Torgerson as well, trying to stick the nose in there in that number 98 Navy Ford. Had to check up and give Pienta that inside line in that beautiful number 16. Pienta trying to stay up in the top 5, and you could see him really wiggling, especially on corner exit there out of 2.
And he's part of that front 3 that bolted away there at the beginning, remember? So he's starting to really see the effects. And I didn't really read anything. Do we have an approximate amount how long they can go on fuel and tires here?
It should be a full tank here. So
because I'm reading 80% in the info
80?
tab.
Okay, so that might be, I would say, somewhere in the 60, 55, 60 range. That would be my educated guess.
So Evan's probably already Evan's probably already crying, I need to pit, I need to pit, I need to pit, and he's just praying for a yellow. But as you said, these guys don't get a whole lot of yellow, so he just might be out to dry.
Yeah, and Pienta, he won at North Wilkesboro, which is a track where you really don't need to worry about saving tires. Season high in cautions there at 9. Haven't touched that yet. Again, as he's hitting the wall in the middle of the straightaway now, is the driver of the 16, and also won at the road course at Daytona a couple of weeks ago. So Pienta, he's been great at the tracks, and he's the only driver to win multiple races this year, as Jamie Leach is getting under him in the 13. Only driver to win multiple races.
Ooh. Hang on here, boys.
He got really loose, and now pushing up the track is Thomas Ogle. That's going to force Pienta even wider, and Ryan Jones is going to take both of those spots in the 91.
That just shows you need to save your tires from start to finish there. You can't just burn them off at the end there, because now we're seeing what place is Evan even in? I lost track of what place he's in here. He's in what, 9th, 8th?
Yeah, he's losing 6th position there. As you see, they both kind of came. The 13 got loose, came down, went up, and the 16 of Pienta got loose and came down. So they both kind of went into each other there, and that has forced Pienta back into the 8th position. So to finally finish my thought, he's the only driver to win 2 races this season, is Pienta, and both of them at tracks where you really don't have to worry about tire wears. He's really struggling in that number 16.
I think he's hoping one of those fans crawls on the catch fence or throws a water bottle on the racetrack, I think, at this point.
Just watch his wheel input here as he comes through the corner. You'd see he's dirt tracking this thing around here. That he is working hard in this race car. You can see how much he's got to catch it just to get out of the corner straight.
You're on his roll bar camera, correct?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, that is a very active wheel, and that just tells you how out of touch that tires are. I mean, watch going into the corner here. He's going to turn right probably twice here. Once.
There's one.
And here comes the second one. There it is. There's the third. There's the fourth. So yeah, it's a very loose race car for sure.
He's got Luke Lafaro under him now. Chase Barry is going to make a move as well, kind of forcing Pienta up the racetrack there, and Pienta is having to work incredibly hard just to keep that car in a straight line. One guy that is not working nearly as hard is the man in the 25 who is currently leading this race, but he's about to, as Randy Bechtel and Troy Torgerson are coming up and coming up quick.
You think anyone's learned their lesson yet about... We saw Randy there. He's like, oh, he's just nice, calm and collected, just riding back and forth. Now look at him. He's running the fastest laps in the field, this minimal delta compared to everyone. Like I was about to say, Evan has lost 3 seconds on his lap time. Alex has lost 2 seconds. Randy, I think, has lost maybe a second and a half just. Yeah, so he's doing quite well with this tire wear compared to everyone else. So that just shows you need to be really smooth with your car.
Laps 24, 25, and 26 were rather comparable between these two. Bechtel 2 laps ago.
This one's not.
A hefty chunk, as there's a big mistake from Alex Huffman, and Huffman is going to give up the race lead in a rather dramatic fashion as Randy Bechtel, the points leader, gets back up to the points. 17 point lead heading into tonight. There's a very good chance it could be a lot bigger here.
He's showing how you need to be driving. So I think a lot of people have learned their case. Ooh, did Alex get in the wall there?
He might have done. It's the right rear looks straight on that 25. He certainly might have had an issue as Troy Torgerson now. We're going to ride on board with Torgerson here just to show you, just to compare some notes as he gets around second position, or trying to get into second position. You can see Huffman there just off to the right. There he is. Just see how much more calm Torgerson is inside of his car. Not turning right, not working too hard, not having to catch the car. And then here's Evan Pienta. Just as a comparison, you can just see, and that was one of the more tame corners that Pienta has made over these last couple laps. So you can just see how much working the tires and saving the tires really, really helps.
You can hear it in the throttle too. When you're on board with Evan, you can hear the pitch just change a lot more constantly than Troy, and that's all due to the fact that the rear tires are more underneath Troy than they are Evan there. I mean, if we go back on board with even Alex for that matter here, you can hear it when he gets in the throttle here. Hear how smooth that is? Very smooth. Even though he's a little bit more worn tires than Randy is, that was incredibly smooth. Hearing the throttle get put back on.
You're hearing it very light, very smooth, really rolling that car. You can see it in the RPMs on the dash as well. And I think when you pointed it out, you could see there a little bit of damage on the right front. My God, I wish this is when I had a telestrator. Saw a little bit of damage on the right front. Not too bad from the 25, but there is some damage. So that lap where you thought he might have tagged the wall coming out of 4, I think he actually did.
Yeah, I went back to look at it. He did get it pretty good. I don't think it's, bad enough to the point where he's losing a lot of lap time. I think he's pretty comparable, like we said, to Randy. So I don't think it's going to really hurt him, but I think we got a yellow.
Pienta's had an issue. Yep, there it is. Evan Pienta. We had seen him having issues, and I think he finally just wasn't able to catch the car, and he must have backed it into the turn 4 wall because that back end is all torn up on the 16.
He kind of hit it pretty square, actually, so he might be all right for the most part.
Battling through 3 and 4, you can see that front wheel, and he actually hits the apron in turn 4 and then just pancakes the inside wall coming out of 4. Pretty good. And that will be caution number 1 here tonight. And coming into one of the more difficult pit roads to master, Randy Bechtel leads them down. It's a lot more manageable here under caution, but under green flag conditions, this is one of the most difficult pit roads in NASCAR.
I was about to say, Evan was probably really thankful he's getting to pit road. Probably not under these circumstances, but pretty thankful. So let's see how they do on pit road here. Pretty tight, pretty narrow.
Narrow pit road as Ryan Jones, the first one to hit the box here. So we'll try to, there we go, down pit lane. All the drivers in their boxes. Well, for the most part, in their boxes. Pienta and Lehman's the last 2 to make it in. And on pit exit, it is going to be pretty much in order. Ryan Jones actually makes up a spot on pit exit from where he was. So the winner coming off of pit road is going to be Randy Bechtel, as you would expect, and the 52 of Justin Winters, I believe, is going to come in. Pardon me, is going to come in this time.
I think we've all learned the lesson that you probably should come in. So
I think he was staying out to try to lead a lap, and I think he just missed it. So I think that's why Winters is in the situation he's in right now. As far as I can recall, I don't remember them catching lap traffic before the caution came out. Only 20 cars still on track, as there's Roy Lehman's getting out of pit road. Only 20 cars left in this race. Larry Poling did not start the event, and Jared Hagedorn pulled off on lap 20 and called it an evening in that Milwaukee Tools number 2. So that is where we stand. 2 retirements here as we work under caution on lap number 39.
So these drivers, now they got a chance to look at their tire wear and actually note, okay, our tire wear is worse than we thought, or it's better than we thought. So it'll be interesting to see if Randy's the only one who's nice and calm on this restart, or if, you know, other people are going to go for it and try to get out to the lead and try to hang on to it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, you're right, and that's one thing we keep seeing over the course of this season. It just seems to be the same guys that jump out to the lead, and then it's the same guys that go up and catch them. Now, unfortunately for Huffman, he might have to fight a little bit here. Most likely he's going to have to fight here because he doesn't have the inside on the restart. He doesn't have control. So looking back to the opening start of the race, Jeff Pogo might end up in 3rd position by the time we head out of turn 2 and onto the back straightaway.
Yeah, he very well might. So, I mean, the inside and the outside, they can work really well. Randy's got control of the start, of course. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how this restart works out. I mean, very well, you could be correct. Jeff could be in 3rd place by the time we get out of turn number 2.
And I will be courteous here, and I will allow you to get us going here as we are about to restart, working lap number 41.
Oh, are we? No, we're not quite quarter of the way through, are we yet?
No,
we got to get to 45, do we? My math isn't too good, is it? Need to work on that.
None of us.
That Iowa math skills is very well, obviously, as you can tell. So, anyway, so Randy's going to lead us down to the green flag here. We have 140 laps to go. We've only completed 40 laps thus far, as Randy's going to hold us down to the restart zone. Hopefully, we don't do a Jimmy Johnson and stack up the field. They're going away. Green flag is out, and it looks like a pretty strong start from the outside of Alex Huffman.
Yep, Huffman was right there with him. Ryan Jones in the 91, able to get down into that 4th position, so everyone stays. And I think Pogo might be a little upset with that one, as Pogo had to check up a little bit to keep the to keep from running into the back of the 91.
Oh, it's fair game with a restart. I think that's just fair game. Race on, boys.
It's one of those, I'll remember that for later moves, I think, possibly.
Potentially.
It's Luke Lafaro getting under Jamie Leach, right behind him, now working his way under Thomas Ogle in the 23. Luke Lafaro saw how far he fell in points. Jeff Pogo trying to get into 4th, and Lafaro is going to follow him right through, or at least try to. Boy, Lafaro really trying to make up for lost time from last week. He is aggressive, the most aggressive we've seen that 20 this year.
Yeah, he needs to maybe slow it down a little bit, because like we kind of mentioned in qualifying, tire temps aren't up yet, so you got to get the tire worked properly in order for it to kick in. But I just noticed, look who's in the lead now. Wait, never mind, my timing is correct.
No,
Alex is
right.
in the lead.
Yep, Alex Huffman did take the lead while we were watching those 2 battles with Pogo and Jones and Lafaro and Jones. So now Bechtel's going to try to push the field back as we take a look at that pass for the lead. Just going into turn 1, easy as you like. And Bechtel, I'm sure, with his strategy, is not all that upset to give that position up. But I am seeing Huffman, is not running away the way he did in the last run.
Huffman's lap times, if you compare them to where they were the last stint, he is about 2 to 3 to 4 tenths slower, actually. So he's learned, hey, I need to save my tire for the end of this run here. So he's comparatively slower than where he was. He just ran the fastest lap of the stint there at the 22.6. But, you know, he's learning that he needs to, you know, calm the tire down, keep it cool, so that when it comes to crunch time, he's got the rear tires underneath him.
Alex Huffman won the 2nd race of the year at Chicagoland. It was a green-white checkered finish. at Chicago. He's been up at the front in every race he's competed in this season. He's missed, I think, one, maybe two races. So this is nothing new for Huffman, but compared to and he's good at saving the tires, but compared to the 29 and 98, he has not been on par with those two this year.
And just by observing in this race alone, I can tell you that those two are the class of the field when it comes to serving their tires. So it'll be interesting to see if Alex has learned enough to maybe see, okay, I just need to reduce my pace here by 2/10, 3/10, and save the tires so that, Randy 15 laps from now isn't flying by me.
And we talk about so often, as I think Bechtel actually hit the wall there coming out of turn 4, that stacks the field up, allows Torgerson under the 29, and Ogle actually had a look under Luke Lafaro in the 20. Is now Bechtel's going to move backwards. And I believe Pogo's going to let him slot in line. He will. But we talk about it so often here on ESPN that you have to be looking. When you're trying to save tires, it's a lot more difficult to do it as the leader because you're the one setting the pace. You don't have anyone in front of you for reference. That's not entirely true because he could be looking back and seeing, well, if I'm gaining on these guys, then I know I'm pushing the car too hard. If I'm pulling away, if I'm falling back to them or just maintaining the pace, I know I'm doing at least somewhat of a good job trying to conserve the rubber.
Yeah, I mean, bringing the race car driver about me, there's plenty of tools you can use other than just the car in front of you. You have your time delta reference points to the car behind you. You have your lap time reference points that you can compare to where you're at. You got the sound, so you can tell if you got the sound sliders right, if you can hear the tires sliding. You have the wheel feel, so you can tell maybe if you got more grip in the car. So there's more references than, just time, really, that you can use to see if you're saving the tire as well as with maybe your feet as well.
As seen, he's not really gaining much. He's just maintaining that 4/10 gap over. Now it's Troy Torgerson in the second position. Randy Bechtel coming under a little bit of fire, but nothing really threatening from the 4 of Jeff Pogo, as I think we just saw a pass back there for the 6th position as Ryan Jones gets around Thomas Ogle, and Roy Leemans appears to have fixed a good enough amount of the damage on that number 74 that he is still able to keep up here. And Jamie Leach as well started in 6th, having a good top 10 run in that number 13.
The Lucky Dog machine is looking a little bit luckier, so let's see if he can keep that up. I got all the puns for that car all night long. I can keep it up.
I bet.
So, but okay, I'll stop with the puns. But yeah,
Please.
It's good to see that car get fixed up. We want to see as many cars at the front fighting, so hopefully, we continue to see as many cars up here at the front all night long.
We saw Roy Leemans coming out of pit road just as he was about to get lapped, so he started towards the back of this field here for this restart and is up into the 8th position. So that 74 is strong. We've seen him have competitive cars. His best race of the year was the run that he had in Chicagoland. Unfortunately, got wrecked in a late race incident at Chicago. Really hasn't been up towards the front since then. Would be nice to see that number 74 up towards the front again.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's always good to see people, especially if they've had like a tough streak or run or something like that, to see them get back on top. So, hopefully, if you're ever down in a league or something like that, you just need to find the little mini victories in the battle there. And at the moment, Troy is looking like he's about to win this little mini victory.
Yep, Troy Torgerson now looking under the race lead for Alex Huffman. And Torgerson got really loose coming through turns 3 and 4. That's going to stack the field back up, as Bechtel's going to be able to get right back to the back bumper of the number 98. This is going to be a fun battle with these guys here. We're already working on lap 59. This is going to be incredibly fun here with these guys for the rest of the way, and Lafaro looks like he's really holding on now.
Yeah, but I think as the race goes on, we'll see the pack start to get closer and closer and closer together as more people learn what the tires do. So expect the pack to actually condense more. We saw how spread out it was here. As here comes Troy again, looking to the inside. I think he might get to front of the stick a little bit better. Not quite there though. Oh, but that was pretty good rotation there.
Has a chance to get him here going through 1 and 2. Does Torgerson. And this part of the track, it's very difficult to get a pass done. You can see how low Torgerson is forced to keep it. It's because coming off of these corners, it funnels you out towards that wall. And if you're not careful, that guy on the outside of you, he could turn into the wall.
Alex, I think, has done a much better job of the front tires because the 2 times that Troy was underneath of him, the front just gave up. So that tells me he's battling understeer in the front of that race car, or something's not quite working at the front of the race car to his liking. And that's why he just wasn't able to make that pass complete, because his initial turn-in was very good. So maybe he just needs to adjust the arc of the corner just a tiny bit to get that front end to bite just a little bit more, and he might just rip out of the corner there and get going.
You're seeing on screen right now the driver of the number 16, Evan Pienta, is still has come onto pit road. He has been there for a minute now, and the question is he going to pull back out? We will let you know if that in fact does happen. But this field now, the top of the field here, starting to spread out a little bit more. We saw that top 4 get closer together. LaFaro's been hanging about a half a second off of this pack, but the group behind them had been spread out and is now really starting to come back together. We saw Lehmans let Jamie Leach go. Lehmans has gotten back around Jamie Leach, and the 2 of them have caught up to Ryan Jones and Thomas Ogle. This overall is a battle for 6th.
So you're starting to see the people that were saving their tires, who were further back, and the people that were burning their tires up at the front, starting to see them condense back into each other and accordion up. So that's what we're seeing here at the moment, especially with this front 4. Jeff was the one who was taking care of his tires really well alongside Randy, and the 2 guys that weren't taking care of their tires quite as well, like Alex and Troy, they're starting to come back to them. So you'll see this throughout the race here, as Alex is really letting the rear end of that race car go at the moment.
Certainly is. As that top 4, you're right, is condensed, and then LaFaro's on an island by himself as Torgerson now goes for the race lead on the inside. As you see Evan Pienta rejoining this battle coming off of pit road. Pienta currently sitting 6 laps down at the moment in that number 16. Again, Pienta came into this race 17 points off the points lead. Guys like Troy Torgerson, Jeff Pogo, Alex Huffman breathing down his neck. He has a very good chance of losing that second position in points here today. Right now, the last car running on track. We have had another retirement after polling did not start, and Hagedorn parked it on lap 20. Justin Winters parked it on lap 38. So during that caution, we saw him come in. He did not come back out on the racetrack as Torgerson and Huffman still fighting for the lead, and I think this time Torgerson is going to keep it.
Yeah, he did a better job of getting the front end to stick that time, and that's why he's able to complete it. But Alex's eye thought about it. He might still be able to get there. No, I don't think so. No, he does not.
It's to come down that hill, and we talked about, or you had brought up, that this is a very abrasive racetrack during the pre-race stuff that we were doing. Once this place gets rubbered in, it's not as hard on the tires as that rubber starts to build up. As you mentioned, you can work different lanes and kind of conserve the tires a little bit more as the race goes on.
Yeah, you can, and we haven't, this run here, I haven't seen anyone, I've seen the middle groove kind of work, and I've seen the bottom groove really work, but I haven't seen anybody go any further than that. I'm kind of surprised by that, because that top groove, if you were able to get the car rotating properly, it can work really well. About where Alex just ran that car at that time. And as I say that...
Oh, yep, there he goes.
That was close.
Big save there by the driver of the 25, Alex Huffman.
So forget what I just said. That's not a good lane to run. They just need to stay down on the bottom.
Yeah, just shortest way is best way. As Huffman lucky there, one, to keep the car, and two, keep in the podium positions, as only Randy Bechtel gets around him, and Evan Pienta right now is kind of hung up behind Jeff Pogo. Pienta again on fresh tires. Pienta, though, damaged, and this might also help him save those tires a little bit, as we're on lap 73, and this is just about equal to what we did the first stint.
So yeah, I haven't seen anybody. I've kind of been going through the field every now and then, just watching the roll bars of everybody. I haven't seen anybody really working that wheel super aggressive. Luke is about the only person I've seen in the field, if we were to go to his roll bar, work the wheel slightly more than anybody else. And he's putting a lot of wheel input into it.
Yeah, you can see him falling off of that group. Has Ryan Jones and Thomas Ogle right behind him now. And all of that input, as you can really feathering the throttle. I thought we might have had a caution there, but Huffman has lost now a couple more positions. Huffman down to P4. But LaFaro, could that be tight? That looks to me like tight in, loose off, and one way that he could certainly help the tight in, I would assume just letting off a little bit earlier, let the car roll and get down to the bottom.
Yeah, back in the corner, and he's definitely pounding that right front into the entry of the corner. I'm just watching just to see what he could be doing differently. That's one thing. If you notice when he dips into one here, he's just going to pound on that right front right on that first initial turn in, and that's kind of making that right front not want to stick here on exit and then turn the rears as well. So it's really prevalent here in 3. See how there he just hits those 3 different bumps, and it just pounds that right front, overheats it, and it makes him struggle all the way out of the corner.
Watch the wheel input here going into turn 1, and that's a lot of wheel input, especially in one of these cars around here. If you're losing that toe tape, if you're losing that behind.
Roy almost got into Jamie there. That was almost a wreck.
It was Roy Leemans and Jamie Leach. See if we can get back to it here. See what happened between these two. And Leemans had a hard hit the wall coming into 3. And then Leach didn't give him a lot of room to come back up and gather it. Got the position. They both worked it out fine. But still, that was a almost, I guess you could say, unnecessarily close call between those two.
Well, too close for comfort, I'd have to say from them.
I would say so. We are getting closer to green flag pit stops here. We are 40 laps into this run. Troy Torgerson, that man right there, the number 98, has the race lead. We will take a quick break and be right back with more of the Lucas Smith Dodge Noble 240 from Dover. You just saw the second caution of the race as Thomas Ogle now sands front end. Gets it going the proper way out of turn 2. And will lose a lap as we are under caution for just the second time here tonight. And with that, the pit cycle has begun yet again. And after we get through the pit stops, we will get you to that replay to show you again what happened, because that battling was getting really close up there in that top group.
Yeah, we were talking about how tight it was, so looking forward to going on about that. But let's see how they do on this pit stops. I think Troy, he had a really good entry to the pit stall here. Let's see how he does.
Yep, nice and safe slide into his pit stall, looking straight as an arrow in that pit box, actually. We'll see a couple cars moving already. Luke Lafaro down and away. There goes Torgerson. Torgerson will win the race off pit road. There goes Bechtel. And Lafaro, it looked like he could have gotten fourth there. May have given it up to start on that inside lane, which honestly is not all that unprecedented, especially for a track where the inside is king.
It's a smart tack. That's a heads-up play there to do that and just to get himself into a better position for sure. So that could be a good move as his race goes on.
We saw how good he was on the short run last time through, but let's get you to that caution now. And what happened, as you can see, you saw these guys battling, and it just looked like Jones caught that backstretch wall and bounced back down in front of the 23. And that, unfortunately, let's see, yep, catches that wall, comes back down in the 23, just nowhere to go, had no clue that was going to happen, clearly. And then it's right around here, we pick you back up live.
There's a man who probably wishes that safer barrier wasn't there, which I've always wondered why that safer barrier is there here in real life. Because to me, that wall would be a little bit closer back to where the wall used to be. But hey, I'm not the one designing that wall. But if I was him, I'd be talking to the designers at Dover, and I'd be like, "Hey, can you move this wall further back? That'd be great."
As Jeff Gordon has pointed out so many times in his career, that car will find the worst places to hit the wall, no doubt about it.
I bet he's wishing that wall just wasn't there at all, though.
I'm sure. As we take a look at what's coming up here on ESPN. Starting in about 10 minutes' time is the debut of the Dirty Old Bastards 410 Sprint Car Series. Sam Cooper Bennett will be broadcasting that from Volusia Speedway. That will be starting again in about 9 minutes' time right here on ESPN. But as far as the rest of the week goes, the iRacing East Super Speedway Series, Nate and I will be in the booth tomorrow night for that. The Xfinity cars at the iRacing Super Speedway, which we're expecting to be a ton of fun. That's starting at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. On Sunday, the Chris Cup Series will be at the Nashville Fairgrounds. First time we'll be broadcasting a race from the Nashville Fairgrounds on the network. Then on Tuesday night will be the Western States Racing League Round 5 from Bristol Motor Speedway. That race starting at 10:05 Eastern Time. And then on Wednesday, Nate, I know you won't be in the booth with me for that one because you'll be on track defending your Season 1 championship as Season 2 for Sim Racer's Edge starts up.
So nice for you to say that. Defending my championship.
You're going to have some stiff
cool
competition this year, bud.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Should be a blast.
We will get you more on that as the race closes in, but we are going green yet again, and Troy Torgerson got a great restart there, allows Jeff Pogo into the second position. Randy Bechtel jumps into third. Alex Huffman into fourth. Luke Lafaro able to maintain that fifth position, and now Huffman trying to get third position, away from Randy Bechtel. And from what we've seen with Bechtel this race, knew he was going to let that one up.
I think Alex was still mesmerized at the fact that I was a defending
Ooh, Ryan
champion
Jones.
there as he didn't go. Oh, yeah, that was a pretty big tank slapper there for sure. Good save.
Certainly by the driver of the 91. And right now, Alex Huffman getting that second position. He wants to be in this race lead. Does the driver of the 25, getting past Jeff Pogo for P2 and immediately all over the back of Troy Torgerson. He wants that race lead as we get past halfway.
Alex is doing the exact strategy he did in that first run. He's running an almost identical lap time. So as he just sends it on the inside of Troy, makes the move done. So he's doing the exact strategy he did there at that first part of that race.
Now, could that just be a strategy of let me get to the race lead, let me get to where I know no one's going to be in front of me and then calm it down? Or do you think he's going to try to open up as big a gap as he can, hoping that we don't have a long green flag run here and then just try to stay in the race lead?
If you're smart, you do back it off. That's what you do, but the damage is already done. Most of the damage is done to the tire here, probably in this first 3 to 5 laps. That sets the tone for the entire stint with your tire temperatures, your tire pressures, all that stuff. So the damage is done at this point. So now he just has to kind of hope that A, there's an early yellow, or B, he's able to back it up, his pace significantly back to Troy, and maybe see if he can just hope and maybe get a quick yellow here.
So while Troy with a T sits in second position, we have a new occupier of the third position. That is Troy without the T. Roy Leemans has moved up into the third position in that number 74, showing some strong pace here right now in that Aaron's Dream Machine. He's got that damage fixed. He's got the confidence in that car. He is making moves towards the front.
We got a yellow here,
Yeah,
so let's
do.
talk about that first.
I think it might be Chris Brown. Oh, there's a big wad in 1 and 2. That's Eric Holly, Chris Brown, Chase Barry involved in that. As we'll try to see what happened here. Chase Barry's in front of these guys. The wreck happens in front there. Jamie Leach was involved in it as well. And the reason why we were following Brown there is because Brown, I think, was the cause of the caution. So let's see if we can follow Eric Holly here. Here's Holly. Let's see. Tries to dive in on the 11 of Chase Barry and just was too late a move.
Yeah, that move is never there all 7 days of the week there. So that's just kind of hoping that the move would work and just kind of throwing it in there. So you do get cases where that will work. It just wasn't that case when it worked.
And tried to push through and try to sneak away from the 11, and unfortunately the 11 swung back around and smacked him in the rear, sent him around. So Eric Holly, who had had a nice solid top 10 run going, now sits in the pits after towing. So he will be in the box for quite some time here. As we work caution number 3, Alex Huffman in the race lead. Troy Torgerson, Roy Leemans, Jeff Pogo, Randy Bechtel make up the top 5.
When you made that Troy to a T-pun, I was very confused about where you're going with that. And then I understood once you finished it. So that was creative. I will give you that.
You gotta find some way to get on national television, and I figured the creative puns is certainly one way to do it.
Yeah, I think most Americans would agree with you that Troy does begin with a T. So as I was extremely confused, and I'm sure there's people at home that were also extremely confused where you're going with that too.
Oh, that's the dad joke of the century right there. I know the century. Do we count 2020 as a part of this century?
I think it's one of those Matrix years that you kind of just assume is just one of those weird throwaway years, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I wasn't trying to count 2020 in the 2010s because it's clearly not, but that's kind of where I was going with that. Maybe it's just an outlier.
Maybe. That's a good point.
So 28 days into this decade. And I just made the pun of the decade, so there you go. Everyone else, you're fighting for second.
I think one of the other jokes of the century is how great Dogecoin is doing in the stock market at the moment. That's another good good joke of the day.
Boy, and those stock market guys are having a lot of fun getting done to them what they do to everyone else. It's nice to see. It's nice to see how well they're taking it.
Tell you what, I've never been interested in owning like one of those digital currencies like Bitcoin and Dogecoin. I was very interested today, though, I will say.
Yeah, I think that's kind of. I think a lot of people shared that sentiment today.
Had a friend of mine actually, and this is a we're a little off topic here, but he made a grand total of $700 today off of just a $100 investment 2 months ago to Dogecoin. Nice. And that's when we left, and it's still going up. So that tells you how incredible the market is at the moment.
There you go. And unfortunately, of all the undeserving companies like GameStop to have that happen to, lucky them. Right place, right time, I guess.
It helps to have people love you.
Yeah, well, also helps if the people that love you outnumber the ones that hate you. As we're about to restart here, once we take the green flag, we will be at the century mark of this race, working with 81 laps to go. Alex Huffman in the race lead, Troy Torgerson next to him. Nate, take it away.
Alex didn't get a good start that last time, but he's the one in control this time, so he should hopefully get a better start this time. The pace car is down. We are waiting, and we are not waiting, though, as Alex has bolted, jumped, and gone away from the lead. The green flag is out, and we're back to racing.
Just in the same way he had done at the initial start to this race. It's the first time he's had a chance to restart this race, and has done just that as we have 80 laps to go here at Dover. As the top three maintaining, everyone pretty much maintaining position. LaFaro did get a spot on that restart, was able to jump the 29 of Randy Bechtel, but as we've seen from Bechtel, he's more than content with saving the tires as much as he can in the early part of the run. And I think especially with his closest championship rival, currently mired down about 5 laps down in the 18th position, I think he's going to be a little bit more willing to give rather than try to take.
That'd be smart for him to do that. Notice this real quick. Troy just at the fastest lap of his race with a 22.2. Roy right there with a 22.2 as well. So these top three, they're going at it pretty fast compared to how we were doing it earlier, as Troy again goes even faster by about 0.02 of a second there.
Fastest lap of the race currently belongs to Jeff Pogo, who ran a 21.95. That is the fastest overall lap of the race. Only 2 drivers have been able to clip that 21-second barrier. And that is Jeff Pogo, who has the fastest lap of the race, and Alex Huffman, who is 0.03 of a second off of the driver of the number 4, as these top 3 here really having a nice little scrum of it. As Torgerson, we've seen Torgerson, he's been one of those guys who's been willing to save the tires as much as he possibly could. He's fighting here.
Yeah, they're fighting here, and it just there, that lap, 0.2 off of where they ran all of them. So that just shows you got about 3 laps to just kind of crank the tire on, go as fast as you can, and then you kind of are just stuck in this phase of the race where you're kind of trying to conserve the tire at this point. They're going to go across the line this time, and they're very comparable to where they were. So at the moment now, you're back into saving the tire, conserving, looking at the long game, trying to get to lap 180 as safely as possible.
Luke LaFaro right now, currently sitting in the 5th position, has gotten up to Jeff Pogo, has not been able to put a move on him yet. But with how good LaFaro was on the short run last time around, last stint, I'm sure he's going to be looking to make some moves here on Torgerson, while the getting is good, I do want to make one apology here really quick, and this has nothing to do with the series. We are on the iRacing Live portal here tonight. You saw the iRacing logo in our break screen there. I was a little late tonight, unfortunately, and I missed getting an iRacing logo in the overlay, so I do want to apologize to iRacing for that. That was one of the new terms and conditions they came out with for being on the portal. There needs to be an iRacing logo on the screen, and I unfortunately dropped the ball on that, so I do want to apologize for that, and for those of you watching on the iRacing portal. Bad me, will never do it again.
Shame, shame, shame.
just a wag of my finger. As you see, these top 6 have broken off into packs of their own. Alex Huffman, Troy Torgerson, and Roy Leemans. This is your battle for the race lead. These 3 have 9/10 of a second over the battle we were just watching, which is the battle for 4th between Jeff Pogo, Luke Lafaro, and Randy Bechtel. Trying to latch himself onto this, the back of this group is this man, the number 91 of Ryan Jones, who's trying to make up as many points as he possibly can. Just got back into the top 10 and just swung and hit the wall coming out of turn 2. Able to save the car, though. Running in the 8th position right now is the biggest mover forward, at least, of the race, is the number 55 of Zach Calloway. Now, Calloway is another one of those drivers who missed last week, trying to get as many points back as he possibly can. And Calloway right now doing a very good job at a top 10 position, trying to fight with, well, now getting into a fight with Stephen Holmes in the number 9 in the 9th position.
Oh, Troy's going around on the backstretch here. Oh,
there he is. There's Troy Torgerson. Caution is not out. Wow. I am incredibly surprised that the caution is not out. We will try to get a look at what happened there with Torgerson. He's got it sorted out, and that the lack of caution there could really hurt him right now. As we'll take a look and see what happened. He's battling with Roy Leemans, this for the 2nd position, and just got loose on that outside lane. Tiny little bump of the wall, nothing too bad for Troy Torgerson, and then was able to get it going.
that's just error. That was just getting too high in the groove. If you notice there, his right side tires were kind of in that gray. And that's all it takes, just getting that little too high. We saw it there at one point in the race here with Alex, how he got too high. He got loose and he almost lost the car. So it's the exact same situation just happened there, just a little bit different.
And that seriously hurts him there, falling all the way down to the 12th position. He is now 10 seconds off of where he was on the racetrack. And with how stingy iRacing has been with the cautions here as of late, I'm surprised at a track as narrow as Dover that caution did not come out.
He made the mistake of not stopping or whipping it around further to get sideways, because he just kept going, and iRacing's not going to throw the yellow if you continue your forward momentum there. So that's why the yellow, I don't believe, came out.
There was a time where iRacing, as we go up to a battle for the race lead here, is Roy Leemans in the number 74 trying to take over the race lead. And boy, Huffman got way out of shape on the outside drag race. And Huffman, you can see he's flirting with the edge of that groove. Roy Leemans to the race lead. First time he's led a race under green flag conditions since that race at Chicagoland. And Huffman not done just yet, giving up positions as now Jeff Pogo goes under him for 2nd.
Roy's been probably the best driver so far in this stage of the race. So it'll be interesting to see if he can continue to move forward here. Jeff has also been really strong as well. We've seen him kind of lurking in the background. He's been around Randy Bechtel for a good chunk of the race. It'll be interesting to see how this race progresses with those 3 for sure.
Jeff Pogo, since the turn of the calendar year and the last race before it at Darlington, has finished no lower than 5th in that number 4. So Pogo, since 2021 has begun, has been on an absolute mission in that number 4 car. Just kisses that wall going into turn number 1. And I believe he was the fastest car on the track that last lap, running a 23:44. So that 4 of Pogo, looking for his second win of the season, really looking strong.
He's all of a sudden became the fastest car on the track by considerable margin, and he's the same that time. He's the fastest with a 23:52. So if he can keep this momentum moving forward here, he's looking low underneath Roy. So it'll be interesting to see if he can just be able to complete a pass.
10th quicker last time, and you saw how loose Lehman's got out of 4 that last time around. We'll see where he is this time around. A little bit slower, actually, than Roy Lehman's. Only 0.02 of a second slower, so very comparable times being run by the top 2. But Pogo certainly showing some strength, as Alex Huffman, actually fastest driver on track that last lap at a 23:56. This time around, that story might be a little different. The leader's the quickest at a 23:2, as Ryan Jones in the number 91 comes in for a pit stop.
So there's a couple of different ways why he could be pitting. He could be pitting because they're in the window now finally for a pit stop here. Is that Chris Jones that just... Who was that just hit the pit wall there?
Oh, I'm not sure, actually. It might have been Chris Brown.
Oh, Chris Brown, sorry.
Yep, Chris Brown in the 1.
Yeah, he definitely spun entering pit road there.
Let's see here. And this is what we were talking about before. It's behind the building. We'll get around to showing you here. Here's Brown. And, yep, just slides, hits the inside pit wall, and a little pirouette, and away we go.
Easy does it.
Yeah,
I think he planned that, actually.
And we were talking about it on the first run of pit stops. This is one of the more difficult pit roads to get onto and off of. First of all, the apron in 1 and 2 is so small, such a big difference in banking, not just in the corner, but on the straightaway. The exit of 2 has such a narrow banking, has such a narrow apron, and then you have to go. You're running 150 miles an hour on the banking, have to make that transition onto the apron and get down to 35. This is one of the most difficult pit roads to get onto in all of NASCAR.
I'd say it's the second toughest pit road to get onto, Darlington being the first.
Yes.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult to even try to get on. But look at the pace advantage here. Chris is on fresh tires, and look at him. He's going to fly by these guys.
There's Chris Brown working under the 3rd place driver, Alex Huffman, as a battle
Roy
for the
got an
lead
issue.
at Roy Lehman's.
Roy's got a big issue. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, he had a major problem. I would have to assume he hit the apron pot. Ooh, he's coming in.
He hasn't hit anything, though.
Could he
It's
possibly?
like...
Could he have worn that right front tire down and blew it?
I wouldn't imagine.
I mean, you're not going to see a physical blown tire, but you can. This sim, it takes a lot to do it, but this sim will simulate a blown tire. It'll look like it's up, but it'll feel like it's blown. And maybe with how quickly he darted into the pits there, could that have been what happened?
I'm just trying to go back on his roll bar here. It sounds like almost like he's out of gas.
Yeah, he just lets up. We'll see it one more time here from that roll bar camera. Or, hold on. Yeah, it sounds like, yeah, he's not getting any power
You know, it could be one of those cases where it's a mechanical, where the throttle pedal just isn't working properly. That's almost what it could be too, because it's too early to be running out of gas.
Unless he didn't get it filled up, and I'm not sure why he wouldn't have gotten it filled up under that last caution flag, because he was in pit road for 15 seconds, so that would have been... So it could have been a rig issue for the 74.
If we get a yellow here, that would be a interesting interview to have, I think.
Yeah, that might be something we need to do as he gets around Daniel Dill in the 81. So that will give the lead to this man, Jeff Pogo, currently working lap 136 of 180. And we're looking at, we could see a pit stop here coming up fairly soon.
Roy just body checked the 11 there of Chase Berry, and Chase Berry is around. He is not. He is not.
Wow.
Made everybody stop for him.
Sure he did. And unfortunately, that wasn't for position, so we might have to do some... I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to do some... something is not... Okay, we'll figure something out. There we go. We'll go back to live. We're not even going to mess with it. Sorry. We were going to have to do some janky stuff that would not have looked good because it was not a pass for position as Jamie Leach hits pit road. You just saw Eric Holly take it down pit road, and there's the 91 of Ryan Jones. He's on fresh tires in that 91, or fresh-ish tires. Came in about 16 laps ago.
People can make it from here, so I'm kind of surprised some people are staying out even longer. If you're like Randy here, you know you can conserve your tires pretty well, so I'd be staying out if I was him. But if I'm Alex, I'm bailing, and I'm trying to get as much, because now he's almost 3 seconds behind Jeff here.
This is from a couple of laps ago. As you can see, Alex Huffman in the wall, and that has allowed Bechtel around Alex Huffman, and with a massive gap, 2.2 seconds the gap between the 25 and the 29. Right now, there you see on screen the last time the guys in the top 5 came into pit. We're looking at 55 laps. And you can see right there the pace difference between Leemans and Huffman. None of the drivers in the top 6 have come into pit yet. Actually, that's a lie. Troy Torgerson has come into pit, and Torgerson's coming out.
And Pogo just came in, and he almost spun it on pit entry. That was incredible.
Take a look at that pit entry here in just a second. As now Randy Bechtel will assume, Randy Bechtel will assume the lead of the race. And, you're right, that was a big slide there.
Oh no, Randy got hit at the rear by Roy, trying to enter the pit road.
Yep, there it is. Bechtel into pit road, and that's the difference in tires. We will show it now. Possibly. Yep, here we go. Possibly. Stop moving. There we go. Here's Bechtel coming in, and you can see just off the back of it as Roy Leemans. That's a situation where a guy probably didn't make a call that he was coming in. Alex Huffman in pit road now. As the pit cycle has started, that will give the lead to this man right here, Daniel Dill. So Dill will lead a lap. Thomas Ogle, Jeff Winter, David Carman. Here's David Carman in 21. I believe a series debut for one David Carman here tonight. As right now, Ryan Jones would assume the lead of the race. However, he is going to be on 17 lap older tires than guys like Roy Leemans and Randy Bechtel. There you see those two, and those two just had a coming together. So right now, the healthiest car behind the 91 is the 4 of Jeff Pogo. However, Pogo has to get around 2 drivers and make up about 4.5 seconds worth of gap just to get to the 91.
For some reason, I got a feeling that...
Leemans.
Oh! I was about to say, I don't think Roy's going to let Randy by that easy, but I was obviously wrong.
And Leemans still having issues.
He's got it now. Took him a while, but he got it now.
Alex Huffman bringing it back into pit road. One would have to assume a pit road speeding penalty for the number 25. See if the car goes up to confirm that. It does not. Pit road speeding penalty for the 25. We're showing Luke Lafaro right now, currently sitting in the 9th position. He just set the fastest lap of the race at a 21.89 and is now again in the 21s, a 21.96. He's about to pass Jeff Pogo for what would be an effective 4th.
I think this battle here for the net, we believe, second place at the moment, but it's quickly. I mean, look at Ryan's just up the road there. He's going to get passed here by both Randy and Jeff.
And again, that's the 17-lap tire difference between the 29, the 4, and the 91. 29 coming in on lap 143, 142 for the 4, and they both make mincemeat of Ryan Jones. It is Bechtel and Pogo for the effective race lead right now. Daniel Dill, who is the race leader, is who they are getting around right now. Those guys have unlapped themselves. Only 3 drivers remain on track right now that did not pit yet. Daniel Dill, who came in on the same lap as the leaders. So just goes to show how early those guys came into pit. David Carman, same thing. Those guys both pitting on lap 86. Jeff Winter came in on lap 99 and is staying out. So Winter in the 30 right now has the best chance at holding a lead here, but could possibly have to come into pit, seeing how much how long Daniel Dill is able to stay out.
Oh, but look at this battle here. I think this battle, believe for the win is definitely between Randy and Jeff. And if you want to see a battle, this is it, because these two are going at it.
Yeah, these two guys are going to be throwing haymakers at each other. Both of these drivers with 1 win. Randy Bechtel won at Kansas this season. Jeff Pogo won at Talladega. So these guys looking to become duplicate winners here, as I believe Daniel Dill... Oh, no. Dill has had some sort of an issue because Jeff Winter has passed him for the race lead. So the official race leader right now is the driver of the 30 here, Jeff Winter. And he is about to give up his lap advantage on Stephen Holmes in the number 9. And with 25 laps to go, how long can Winter stay out? Because again, Daniel Dill came in on lap 86. We are working on lap 156 right now, so he stayed out there for 70 laps. Could Jeff Winter have snuck a win out here? He is going to have to try to maintain a 13-second gap and closing rapidly.
If this race goes green, no way, because they're 2 seconds a lap quicker. Randy and Jeff both are. What Jeff needs now, though, is he needs a yellow. Because if there's a yellow and he pits, and assuming nobody else pits with him, he's going to come out in 7th place, and these guys are on way worn tires. He should go by him if there's a yellow. But at the moment, the field's so spread out, I'd imagine we are not going to see a yellow. until the end of this race if we get one.
This is a two-horse race currently as these two guys are on a track all of their own as Jeff Pogo makes the move, gets into what would be the effective race lead. You can see the next car ahead is pretty much down at the other end of the straightaway. Daniel Dill has come into pit road now. Here is the guy who currently holds effective third position. That's Luke Lafaro in the 20. He is 4 seconds off the pair we just saw. Thomas Ogle behind him is not for position. You just saw the number 98 Navy machine behind him. That is your effective fourth position in Troy Torgerson, and he came in on lap 139. And a good recovery from Torgerson as well, because remember, he had that spin, fell all the way back to the 12th position on track, and now is currently sitting in an effective P4. So a very good recovery from Troy Torgerson.
And he's only 8 seconds off of Jeff here. So we figured earlier, what do we say, about 10 seconds he lost there with that spin. Was that correct? So, I mean, he's a net 2 seconds up the road if we were talking about that spin there. And he should be, 2 seconds ahead of Jeff, but he's not.
And that's
how it goes.
And that's partially a benefit from coming in 4 to 5 laps earlier than these two. As Jeff Pogo currently sitting at effective race lead, Jeff Winter, who is the official race leader, is half a track in front of these guys, 9.3 seconds. As you see the race position, there you see the red number 1 here at the start-finish line going into turn 1. And then coming out of turn 4 at the bottom, you see 2 and 3. There is a visual representation of the gap between these between these three drivers. The gap between 4th and 5th as well. As you see how much time that those guys have to make up over the course of the next 17 laps.
There's a man who's hoping for a yellow. It's definitely Jeff Winter at the moment, because if he gets a yellow, he's pretty set.
Daniel Dill gets one of his laps back after pitting under green. Ryan Jones currently there. You see him trying to keep the car straight, I believe. Now it looks like, he's trying to keep the car straight. He is the next car to unlap himself off of the 30 of Pogo. I'm sorry, off the 30 of Jeff Winter, pardon me. There is the man who we are expecting to take the effective race lead after Jeff Winter comes into pit, assuming Jeff Winter has to come into pit. Now again, Winter did not come in on lap 86 with the rest of the field. He came in on lap 99, so 13 lap fresher tires than Daniel Dill when he came in, and Dill did just over 70 laps, and there's 8.5 seconds between Winter and Pogo. Right now it is not closing as rapidly as it was. Winter was only a 10th quicker than Jeff Pogo last time around.
Now that I'm thinking about it, he might have an outside chance. I mean, he's got to save a lot of fuel to do it. That's like 7 miles worth of fuel. But, I mean, that's not entirely unrealistic.
Well,
especially if he's doing it the entire time.
Oh, no, I think he's coming in now. Yep, here he comes. Jeff Winter, just as we thought he was about to win this race, proves us both wrong and comes into pit road.
It was fun while it lasted, I guess.
It certainly was. So that officially now gives the race lead over to Jeff Pogo. And boy, oh boy, if what could have been for Jeff Winter. Well, he had done about 70 laps on that tank of fuel, and unfortunately, I think if it was 100% fuel fill, he might have had it.
If it was 100% fuel fill, I think almost everybody would have just done that strategy too, though. So you get live and die by it, and unfortunately, he died by it.
Certainly a valiant effort, though, from the 30 of Jeff Winter, as now it is Jeff Pogo currently in the race lead. Again, winner at Talladega right at the turn of a new year. Has had an incredible string of finishes: second, first, second, fifth, fourth over the last 5 or 6 races here in the USRA Cup Series, trying to move his way up the point standings, and boy oh boy has he done a fantastic job here tonight. As I think my broadcast partner's headset has just died. Yep, there it is. Of course, coming down to the end of the race. He did warn me about that during the break, so unfortunately Siefker's headset has played ripperoni with us here. So Jeff Pogo working now 7 laps to go here at Dover as he crosses the line. The gap to Randy Bechtel slightly increasing between the top 2 drivers. There you see the gap. The times in red are where Pogo has been able to gain. The time in green there is where Bechtel was able to gain. And right now, Pogo working through lap traffic. The only thing that could affect this race for him as of this moment is a caution. Thomas Ogle and Chris Brown in between him and the 29, him being Pogo. He's got the 11 of Chase Barry running in front of him. Right now, the closest battle on track is between Chase Barry and Roy Lehmans. I'm sorry, and Thomas Ogle. That is for the 9th position as we hit 4 laps to go here at Dover. Saw there in the background Daniel Dill getting past Randy Bechtel, and we're certainly going to ask Bechtel during post-race interviews whether how much of an effect that damage had on the back end of his car, because he was certainly one of the quicker drivers here tonight, without a doubt. And it looked as though his race fell to shambles after that incident with Roy Lehmans on pit entry. Coming to the line now, 2 laps to go here for Jeff Pogo, who is looking to become the 2nd duplicate winner of this season. 8 different winners in the first 9 races here. Evan Pienta, the only duplicate winner this year, currently sitting out of this race in the 19th position. Final lap has begun. Jeff Pogo now has Daniel Dill on fresh tires behind him. Shouldn't be too much of a battle between these two. Dill keeps respect. Coming through turns 3 and 4, it will be Jeff Pogo winning his 2nd race of the year. The Lucas Smith Dodge No Bull 240 goes to the driver of the number 4.
And it's a guy who's quiet all night. That's
there
how that
is.
works. Yeah, I had enough. I charged it enough for just a little bit there. So yeah, it looked like it worked for just a little bit there. Great run from Jeff there. Was there all night. Showed up when it needed to.
What a run for the number 4. We saw him up battling in that lead pack all race long, but to your point, Nate, was not one of those guys that you would have picked to just jump out in front of the field and really take a run at it. But at the end of the day, Jeff Pogo comes away with his 2nd race win of the season.
Yeah, that was incredible. when you win 2 races in a row, he's the second 2-time winner, and he deserved it tonight. That was an incredible run from him.
Now we are going to try something with the finishing results here. So I apologize if we have to flash the finishing results up here a couple of times before we get it right. So right now, we will be waiting for the drivers who finished in the top 3 positions. So Jeff Pogo, Randy Bechtel, and Troy Torgerson. Your top 3 finishers here tonight. And Nate, you think your mic can handle an interview?
If I'd stop talking, I think it's your cue to cut in there. So
all right.
Let's try it.
So Nate is with your race winner, Jeff Pogo, right now.
Jeff, it's Nate in the ESBN booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Man, we didn't see you at the front for a lot of tonight. We saw you like in the top 5 for a good chunk of it, but we never really saw you lead until that final stint. We knew that tire wear was a major deal tonight to deal with. How was your race overall with the tire wear and overall where you ran at most of the night?
Good. I did about 400 laps practice here to get ready for tonight. So kind of knew what I needed to do. Be safe, kind of save your stuff early, and then not really make a charge till the end. So I don't know. I'm happy with it. It's exactly what I wanted.
I think after 400 laps of practice, I think a win is the only acceptable result to really satisfied with your practice. So you knew all the stuff you had to do tonight. Were you surprised by how some of the front runners there in that first and second run, how quickly they bolted out and tried running away?
Really, I am. Yeah, I kind of expected everybody to kind of know how abrasive this place was. You run out front, you run hard the first couple laps, you really hurt your tires. Everybody knows that, and we still do it because you want to race other guys. But you just got to keep telling yourself in your head, dial it back a little bit, and long runs where you're going to prevail.
Well, it sounds like you did a great job, and especially in that last late green flag run, having to get by Randy there. At what point did you think or know for sure that race was yours?
I'll be honest, I never did. Randy had a little bit of bad luck, got rear into getting on pit road. If it wasn't for that, don't know if I'd have had anything for Randy. He was fast all night. But, even with his damage, he was still fast. He just looked a little too free. So a lot of fast guys in here this season, so you got to work to earn anything.
Absolutely. I know how that feels. But you're the man on top tonight, Jeff. You're the winner here at Dover. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank for your incredible run here to the top step of the podium?
First and foremost, got to thank you guys up in the booth for being here every week. Got to thank my wife, of course, teammates, Justin Wilson up there being the eyes in the sky. And then, I got to give a shout-out to Steve Holmes. I think you finished 5th tonight. I don't really know.
He did.
I haven't pulled up, but tried helping him in practice. He didn't have the best tire wear here, and 400 laps later, got a 5th place finish. He's got to be happy with that, so I'm proud of him.
It's always good when you help people out to good finishes. Well, Jeff, congratulations on your win here tonight at Dover. We'll see you next week. Where are we going, Frank, by the way?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. So another tough track on tires. So we'll see you there and see you next week.
Good, fellas.
Take care.
And so that was your race winner, Jeff Pogo. We now move to our second place finisher here tonight. That would be the points leader and the driver of the number 29, Randy Bechtel. Randy, first and I think most obvious question would be, how badly did that shunt from Roy Lehman's going into the pits affect that race car?
I don't know if you can see me sliding around everywhere, but it hurt pretty bad. I haven't been able to see it yet, so I don't know what it looks like. So, but I can tell it was a lot looser.
Other than that, you certainly had your strategy was what it's been pretty much most of the season. Save the tires early in the run, come out and show your speed later. Did you think that you would have, coming through this final pit cycle, did you think this race was pretty well in hand had that not happened?
I kind of it depends on what happened with Troy there. I know he was racing pretty hard with the 74 and 25, and he had his little mishap. But I think if that would have happened and stuff with me didn't happen, it probably would have been between me and him. Possibly Pogo. Pogo is pretty fast too, so I think it would have been any one of those three if circumstances were different.
The three of you guys plus Alex Huffman were really up at the front all night long. Going into another tire wear centric track next week at Atlanta, what are your thoughts going into Atlanta Motor Speedway as we wind down this season? And today, with Pienta having a DNF here tonight, finishing in 19th, you have a big points lead. How does that affect your run into Atlanta?
I don't think it's going to change my mindset that much. We usually have a lot of green flag runs there, so just do what I usually do every week, save tires, and go at it the second half. Should be fine.
All right, anybody you want to thank before we let you go and celebrate?
My teammates Chase, honorary teammate Ryan. I think he had a rough night. Justin, race control, other teammate. Not racing though. Eric and Jeff are putting on the race, and of course you guys for broadcasting.
All right, thank you very much. Good luck next week at Atlanta, and congratulations on your second place finish here tonight.
Thank you.
All right, so that was your second place finisher, Randy Bechtel, and if Nate's headset can live long enough, we will get
It's still here.
in. There we go. We'll get him in with Troy Torgerson right now, your third place finisher.
Troy, Nate in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey Nate, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going good. Going good. You had a strong run tonight. It looked really good. It looked like it was all going to plan until Troy without a T was on the outside of you and got you a little loose there. Talk us through that.
Oh yeah, I see you talking about the 74 there. I think
Yeah.
lost it off a 2 there. I don't know, man. I was just trying to get away from him a little bit, and I got a little happy with the throttle there. And I mean, what are you gonna do? Didn't cause a caution, kept her going the right way there. Got 4 good years and just laid it to the floor.
Speaking of laying it to the floor, we noted here in the broadcast booth, we estimated you lost about 10 seconds due to that. The margin of victory between you and Jeff tonight was only 4 seconds. How big of a difference do you think that was in your race tonight?
Oh yeah, it cost me not to, well, there was some problems with the 25 and the 29, I guess, but yeah, I have a lot of success here, and if that wouldn't have happened, I don't know, I would have rolled the dice and say it would have probably happened, but who knows. I can't take anything from Jeff and from Randy. They're both great drivers, and congratulations to Jeff on his win.
Well, that's awesome. And we saw you at the front all night tonight. You mixing it up, running the top 3 for a large portion of the race tonight. What was so key in staying up there?
I don't know. I was just trying to roll the corners, man, and was burning up the right fronts there. Or I mean, not the right front. The right rear was coming off the car there in that first run, and kept it trying to run a little bit more conservative. But they're in the first part of the run there. They were just going to go by me because I didn't want to burn them up. But it is what it is, man. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy you guys are broadcasting. I think we screwed ourselves tonight.
Well, I mean, a podium is a brilliant effort regardless, especially after the night you had. Is there anyone you would like to thank for your podium place tonight?
Absolutely, man. I got to thank my teammate, 23 car Tom Ogle, man. He's a great guy. We talk week in and week out about how we're going to tackle the track. This was tackling the monster this week. We had a good plan for it. He got caught up in a wreck, and I took myself out of it. But Gary Griff, he's the one that put the Navy paint on the car for this year. Absolutely love it, man. Thanks to Jeff and them guys over there at USRR putting it on, and you guys in the booth, man. You, Frank and Nate tonight, thanks for what you do. I can't wait to go back and watch it.
Well, we appreciate it, and we appreciate you as well, Troy. Congratulations on your podium place tonight. We'll see you at Atlanta next week.
Or
All right, so there was your third place finisher here tonight. That would be Troy Torgerson. And Nate, a night like tonight, a very difficult race for these drivers, a very difficult race in general for these guys. It is certainly one of the tougher tracks to try to get a hang of and be consistent with, and these guys certainly did a fantastic job of it tonight.
Yeah, it's a tough track, and these guys handled it with class, dignity, and respect. They handled the monster how they should treat it. They did a fantastic job. We only saw, 3 cautions tonight, correct? That was 3. My math is
3,
correct.
Possibly 4.
According to my sheet, we had 3, but my sheet's been off every now and then. But anyway, regardless, having anything less than 8 cautions here with the length of a race that we had tonight is a great result. And these guys did a great job. We saw with many drivers how difficult it was to get around here, and they all handled it fantastic. So these guys deserve a pat on the back and saying a good job with how well that this race was ran from top to bottom tonight.
They certainly do, and we are going to try to find a good spot here to stop this video. Otherwise, we're going to see a black screen, which we don't want to see. So with that, try to find. There we go. We'll call it on the battle for second here. We'll go now to the finishing results here. Hopefully this pops up the way. Nope, it did not. All right, so there you go. So we'll go to the finishing results now for the Lucas Smith Dodge No Bull 240 here at Dover. Jeff Pogo, your race winner here tonight. Randy Bechtel coming home in the second position. Troy Torgerson coming home in third. You heard from those guys. Luke LaFaro comes home in fourth position. Stephen Holmes, as Jeff Pogo had mentioned, finishing in fifth here tonight, rounding out the top 5. Zach Calloway, Jamie Leach finished 6th and 7th. Those were the last drivers to finish on the lead lap. Daniel Dill, we saw him behind Jeff Pogo. He actually was the first car to finish 1 lap down here tonight. So Daniel Dill finishing in 8th. Chase Barry 9th. Thomas Ogle rounds out the top 10. Jeff Winter, who we thought had a chance at winning the race, comes home 1 lap down in the 11th position. Ryan Jones 12th. Chris Brown coming home in 13th. David Carman 14th. Roy Lehmans in 15th. Tommy Cannon 16th. Alex Huffman finishes in the 29th position, a DNF after getting a pit road speeding penalty on the last run of pit stops. Eric Holly comes home in the 18th position. 19th tonight is Evan Pienta, who got a DNF. Justin Winters, Jared Hagedorn, and Larry Poling did not make the start for this race. Poling didn't. Winters and Hagedorn were also DNFs tonight. So for my broadcast partner, Nate Siefker, I am Frank Marchese. Click on over to the Dirty Old Bastards 410 Sprint Car Series race right here on ESPN. It's taking place right now from Volusia. Sam Cooper Bennett in the booth for that. For us here tonight, our job is done. We will see you guys tomorrow night. Both of us will be in the booth again tomorrow night for the iRacing East Super Speedway Series from the iRacing Super Speedway. Have a great night, everybody.